Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Pensado's Place. It is great to see you. Our guest is an LA institution, a consummate musician, consummate professional. You're going to enjoy our conversation with Terrace Martin. But first, a couple of quick notes. Would you like to win $6,000 in gear from Sweetwater? You can. They're giving it away this month. Click the link right below where you see there. Go there, enter email, win, gear up. Also, we're going to be doing a couple of new and interesting things with Sweetwater that you can benefit from. Each month, we're going to give you our preferred gear, preferred software, hardware, monitors, headphones, you name it. We're going to have some new content coming up where you'll be able to mention our name when you go there and get some advantages for buying. So stay tuned. That's coming next month. We're excited about that. Along with that, we've got new things that we think you should know about. For instance, there's a company called New Gen. They've got an amazing suite of products. We'll be talking about that. And we're going to be bringing you that each month, as well as opportunities for you to receive it. So stay tuned. We're going to be busy. How do you stay involved? Check us out on our socials, on all the platforms. Click like, subscribe, notify. Talk to us so we can talk back to you. We look forward to that. And without further ado, here's what's really true. Every city has institutions and landmarks, but usually they're buildings. In our business, they're people. Our guest is an LA landmark. From Herbie Hancock to Snoop to David Sanborn to Quincy Jones to Kendrick Lamar, they all utilize him. He is a badass. We went to see him. The Pensado team went to see him recently, and in the house was Robert Glasper and Dr. Dre. He's a bad boy, and you're going to get a sense of him. He's a friend of ours. Enjoy our conversation with Terrace Martin. Terrace, what's up, bro?
What's up, Herbie and Dave? I'm so happy I'm back.
Man. Thanks, Terrace.
Wait, I got to say this now before we start about anything. My wife is so mad at me. She said, when you're on with Herb and Dave, tell them we need more Pensado mugs, because I broke her Pensado mug. I broke the mug, the red one. She loves that mug. She loved that.
Coming to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're ready.
Coming to you. Yeah, because I do not want to be cussed out by.
She was on me about that mug, man.
Okay. Yeah. In fact, we've been getting a bunch of requests. We may have to put them out, but tell her she's covered.
Okay.
Anytime. And hers comes with insurance. So if it breaks again, I got another one for her.
Come on.
You know, man, the intro really is more an ode to yourself and Kamasi and so many cats that somehow you're genreless, but you got signatures. You can be on Ty Dolla Signs, and you can be on Herbie Hancock, and you can be on Kendrick, and fit them all, and then go do you. And all of it blends together at a level of musicianship. That's the other part that people understand, maybe if they don't know you. The level of musicianship just does not get higher. You all are artisans and craftsmen. Like I get proud. It's like I'm like, okay, New York, see? Okay, Atlanta, you ain't got this.
Yeah.
Where was that born, and is that accurate? Am I overstating it?
No. That's that's it. You know, we grow up in LA. I mean, LA is a place where everybody moves to. Everybody comes to LA. So I've always said that our culture, Los Angeles culture, is like a gumbo. It's like a gumbo. It's like a stew. Of different things. So where it's like, you know, I never used to look at me doing, let me go do a hip hop record, a jazz record, or this. Honestly, without even being so deep, I was just trying to work. And I was trying to work.
Get a check.
I was trying to work. So it's like, and I think when you grow up in LA, naturally as a musician, the skill level, all that with me and Kamasi, Thundercat, that all comes from our parents or like our Los Angeles session musicians. And if anybody knows LA, it's one of the main recording capitals of the fucking universe.
Yes.
So when you grow up in a household of musicians and they do records, just like if you grow up and your dad's a cop or a lawyer, different things like that, you look at your father get up every morning. He's taking you to school. He's dropping you off. Your dad's going back home to either get prepared for a 10 a.m. At either at A&M or Capitol or things like that. So he's reading through the lead sheets. He's documenting. So you're growing up seeing how serious it is to prep for a session and everything like that. So I think those with Los Angeles musicians are a thing, because I think we grow up having to do so many different things and being serious about them. Like in my household or my friends, like we couldn't have the excuse where we didn't learn to read music because we just wasn't feeling it. Like what the fuck? Like what? No, you're lazy. You're lazy. Oh, I can hear anything. I don't need to know how to read. No, you're fucking lazy. And I'll tell any musician that we grew up, have an ear, do a lot of ear training. That's the main first thing you should know about music, is enjoy it and have an ear and be able to hear that shit, ear. But if you're not a hobbyist and you're a professional doing TV, cartoon dates, jazz dates, big band dates, bar mitzvah dates, gospel dates, these dates, and if you're really in demand, I don't care how big your ears are, you can't remember and hear everybody's music every night of the week like that and play it to a high level. You just can't. But if I have a chart in front of me, we was always taught to just prep and be prepared for the whole thing and be a full musician, because also being young Black musicians was a real thing. Because, and I have a ton of white brothers and sisters that are all bad motherfuckers.
Absolutely.
Amazing. But being a Black session musician at a time when sessions it was kind of already waving away. Yeah. It's like I always felt we couldn't have excuse for anything. Like, what do you mean you can't, you play saxophone, you guys can't sight read? Like what, like, you don't play flute too? How do you don't, like, what do you need the chart written in your key? You can't just read a C chart? So it's like, we couldn't have these excuses of like being less than as much as we could possibly be to our full potential. So I think that's the big difference with us in LA, supposed to, like, I grew up in New York too with my dad. I love New York. I love Harlem. I love the whole Sugar Hill crew. My idol is Jackie McLean, Sonny Rollins. Everybody lived in Harlem. Those are my heroes. Right. I think my friends in New York, either my friends in New York, most of them either played hip hop or either played jazz or either did this studio. And nobody talked to each other. Most of them, nobody never communicated. And I think that's the difference in LA and New York.
Just a quick sociological point, because first of all, we can end the show there. This is what happens when you talk to genius. One question, answer, mic drop, go. But we got more to do. Two sociological points. One, in New York, because I lived there too. You're right. It was just siloed. In the silo, they were incredible, but the silos didn't mix. Yeah. But the other side, just for the audience, when you hear all the pathology of broken homes and parents not be there, don't buy all that. Yes, that's part of every culture. No more our culture than yours. But the reality of it, there are a lot of parents at home making sure stuff that's happening with Terrace and so on and so forth, making sure that they learn and demanding excellence. When I first met Rance and went to the studio in Inglewood before the building, he and his father were playing the Folgers Coffee song and trying to figure out how they wanted to invert chords and do stuff like that. Okay. That was just an exercise on the side. And I was literally like, I had my fist up in the air saying, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is musicianship. Thank you for letting me get off my chest. Dave, fire away.
Okay. One of the things that I've been in LA 30 years and I've made a lot of friends, and it seems like in LA to expand a little more on the way that LA works, if you get on a bus with nothing, people might mess with you and mess with you in a big way. You get on a bus with a saxophone case, and you're good. You're good to go.
Oh, yeah.
You're golden. You're golden. You'll get put at the front seat of the bus.
Oh yeah.
And I think here in LA, there's more of a tendency to share with the people coming up. Like I think I can safely say about myself, I do a lot of sharing, and I don't see that when I go to New York as much. I haven't ever seen it, and I still don't see it now.
Yeah.
But also, LA has a more diverse taste than New York. New York seems to be single issue taste, whereas like we can't put a label on you.
Yeah, I would say it's just different. New York's diversity is different than LA's diversity. It has a lot to do with geographic reasons and all kinds of stuff. But here's the good news. I mean, that's LA. What Terrace is doing that is so fascinating to me is, for instance, we recently, and Raj, our newest member of Pensado's Place, is on here too. And we went.
What's up, Raj?
We went to see him at Manny's place. The restaurant is called Verse. And so beyond the concept of the restaurant, which is a restaurant where he took a concierge from a 2 or 3 Michelin starred place and took a chef from a 2 or 3 starred Michelin place. And the room is ridiculous. And it has a live stage, and you can play on that stage while they're recording in Larrabee, which is 1 building away. And it's acoustically perfect. And it is so thought out. And I was fortunate enough in the early days, and Dave, you too, that Manny, we used to tape across the street. So Manny would have me over, and he would just bounce ideas, right? And then to see it come together, huge commitment, very expensive. But Terrace was there performing with his crew. And at the time, he was also recording. He was recording for NFT. And so it's Robert Glasper and Ernie Isley's daughter, who's just the new chanteuse, just killing it. What's her name? It's
Alex Isley.
Alex Isley, ridiculous.
Alex Isley.
Just sweet and just goes to tape unbelievably.
And you know what? She sings in tune, man.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about something that basic? Kamasi, Washington, there were just, folks were hanging around doing stuff. Dr. Dre was there and Rants from, 50, just musicians loving on musicians. And it was just incredible to sit down and say, oh, look at the art. Like the art is just smoking. And again, it gives me a weird sense of pride that we're holding it down like that. Now, so let me ask this question. When you do a Ty Dolla $ign record, or when you do whatever the case may be, are you inspired the same way? Do different things come out? Are you just being Terrace, or does it trip other wires? What happens?
When I go do a Ty Dolla $ign record, when I was in my early 20s, I could go to 10 sessions a day, and now I in my early 40s, I got to prep. I have to prep for sessions.
Right.
Between having kids and just life, and still trying to practice on the horn, and so when I walk into a Ty Dolla session, before I walk up, I usually know I'm going to see him. I'm excited to see him, so I'm listening to what me and his foundation we always talk about since we were kids are like all the Teddy Riley stuff. Anything Teddy, anything Guy, anything with Roger Troutman, anything Jay. So when I'm going to see Ty, any session I go back to me and that person's point of foundation, and I start from there. So by the time I get to them, I'm kind of more because I know Ty's not doing orchestration, so he's a little more focused on his thing. So he could stay in that place and just but grow from umbrellas, grow different stems from there, not just stay there. So I know when I go see Ty, if I'm just leaving a jazz or whatever session, let me just Let me go on YouTube. Like just now, before I clicked on the y'all for 2 days, I've been transcribing on the pandemic. Teddy Riley did like a concert with Dave Hollister and all the guys.
Yeah.
With a smoking band. It's on YouTube. And I go to Teddy all the time because he's just like, he's like, you know, Teddy, it's like the level of just I can't explain it, you know? Yeah. So I go to him and I'm just listening to him, his bass lines and this and that. And as I'm listening to him, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to call Ty. I think I'm gonna try to work some things in. I'm gonna try to learn this Teddy thing.
Nice.
And then break it and unlearn it. Figure out how we can turn it upside down. And then I'm gonna call Teddy and say, Teddy, listen. You know what I'm saying? So that's my mindset when I go see a Ty or when I go see who else is under that umbrella? Not the same artist, but the umbrella. When I go work with DJ Camper, I mean, Ty's the trailblazer now. Usually all the younger artists, he's in their foundation thing. So it's a couple of tools, universal tools I use for different worlds I go in. Like if I'm going to work with Kendrick, depending on what he's on, I'll have months of conversation, every random conversation on text, just to make sure, just to see where he's at, what you on. And we talk anyway, but he's always searching. So with him, I have a little more freedom in my own space. Nobody's controlling me. Freedom to listen to things I've never listened to. Like let me go learn myself. Why is Pink Floyd exciting? I never listened. Let me just go listen to Pink Floyd all day. It's not about me liking it or not liking it. Let me learn it.
Learn from it.
Let me learn it because everybody's talking about it. Everybody's valuing it. Let me learn it and let me undo everything in my head. Because when I go work with Kendrick, him and Herbie are the two artists I work with that I have to have a clean palette, yet so many tools to pull from because they both want to do close as possible to the unheard or undone, close as we can. Besides, there are no new notes. So with them, my thing is a little different. We're not searching for, I don't want to say this, but we're not searching for the hit.
Right.
We're trying to all be uncomfortable and do things that none of us have done so we could share some type of memorable moment together that only happened here.
You're searching for the art that people haven't seen or heard.
Yeah. And that's that. And I love doing that. Yeah. I love working with YG. When YG talking about shit, he like, yo, I'm on this, I'm doing that. I need something aggressive. I'm like, okay, cool. That music is such a big part of my like gangster shit is such a big part of my foundation. Yeah. That it's kind of like if I go do a blues gig, I probably ain't gotta listen to that before I go.
Right.
That's kind of my foundation. Right. But when I do listen to it, I still listen to the classics, all the NWA stuff. I listen to 21 Savage and NBA Youngboy and all the new artists because I'm always fascinated how they get the 808 so louder every year. I'm always fascinated with how do they doing this? Right. Hit Boy, actually, I shouldn't say it. Hit Boy is my secret weapon. He's my go-to. When I want to listen to things that sonically still please me and still have what's today and tomorrow. Right. I go to Hit Boy's music because to me he has a young cat over there named Dave mixing for him and engineering. I met Dave when I was doing To Pimp a Butterfly. He was on my sessions and I remember right before I left the session, I stayed up drunk 4 days in a row and did all kind of shit. So I said, wait, I don't want to, can you please, because I only work with him 4 days. I said, can you please write down your names so I can remember your names to credit you on the record? And they said, what do you mean? And I said, you've been assisting me. You've been going to get I just made you go get 40 U87s and we chose the best one. I gotta give you the credit. And them kids got Grammys on them records, man. And when he saw me, said, man, cause of you this. I said, no, ain't cause of me shit.
I hear you.
Ain't cause of me nothing.
I hear you.
You worked for that. You earned that. But so he has this young genius over there named really doing all the mixing, and he's taking all the elements of everything we love. He's doing things with the low mid that's like, I can hear the bass on the phone because you fucking with the low mid, but he's still doing shit that arenas could take. Cars could take with just 6x9s. He's making it sound like that, but the 808s is just as crazy as all my guys in the South and everywhere else. But I hear the stereo imaging is so wide, and that's why I listen to Hit Boy, because I get all that with all that.
Love it.
Sorry, that's so much.
No, I love it. Love it. Love it.
On the project, you've got some really big egos, like the second song on the album, Drones. There's some big egos on that. How do you go about handling that herd and getting them to give their best together? And individually, they're all brilliant, but together, that's a whole different ball game. Yeah. And that's your job to get that all working like a fine oiled machine. How do you do that?
Man, I'm so fortunate to work with a crew of people where the last thing Snoop, Kendrick, Ty, anybody brings into these studios is an ego. Like that's like in order to even deal with all of them, nobody could have an ego in the room. Okay, everybody's great. That's out the way.
Right.
Okay, everybody's a thing. That's out the way.
Right.
I mean, Snoop is an icon. That's a different thing.
Right.
And he's the coolest of the world. So if the icon is cool,
right, everybody else has to be.
If Herbie, Quincy, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, if they say, hey, I'm on the phone right now, I'll call you as soon as I got time.
Come on. Yeah.
So I'm dealing with those level of humans. So it's like, and all those guys care about is good songs. Everybody been through the hit records.
Right.
When hits was hits,
Right.
Everybody been through that. So I think now everybody just wants to keep on giving as much love as they possibly can to each other and let that shit resonate. So it can hit the world. So it's no problem for me. And another thing I think what helps me out, and I thank God, is when I go do these cats records, when I go, I give them my everything. I give them my all. I put it all on the table and I clear it off. And my job as a record producer is first, I've been fortunate to get my whole life going with all my friends. I've been so strangely blessed with that to where I don't even, it's different, but my job is to get the record done. It's not to fucking play a keyboard or do a hi-hat or it's just to figure out, to fill in the blanks. If you need a friend to talk to get this shit done or just to talk to, I'm here for that. That's my job to get it done. So I've learned, like, when I go in these guys' sessions, I'm a blank canvas. My job is to bring their art to a little brighter color or a little darker color. It doesn't matter for me. So I think the fact that I give my all to them, that all my friends, they always give their all to me, and that comes from just really growing up in LA with my mama and understanding that relation, growing up with a mother in the industry, understanding that relationships are key.
It was evident at Verse. It was evident in the interplay with the band, the unspoken conversation that goes on between musicians who are on a string, and even knowing where they're going, but still communicating with each other. And then the other funnier part was it was your chance to get in Dr. Dre's behind.
Got him.
I mean, over and over and over.
I was punching him with so much love.
Straight up. Straight up.
much love. I'm gonna love you because I love you, King. I love Dr. Dre.
And he was getting hit left and right to the point, audience, that he at one point in time he just yelled, "Nigga, play the song!"
Yeah,
and man, we all died. Man, we died.
I love Dr. Dre. Man.
He said, "I've been sitting here a fucking hour playing the song."
Yeah,
and Terrace was in his ass.
Let me tell you how I was at the bar, doing my jazzy things.
Right.
Yeah. You want to drink? Yeah, drink.
Right.
I really forgot I was on the gig. I started partying, and then Robert Glasper came to me and said, "Dr. Dre said play, man." And I said, "Oh, I forgot." Oh. Hey, it felt like Dre was the club owner and said,
"Yeah, it did. It did." He kind of looked like Manny that night.
Yeah,
It was funny.
That was beautiful. And I'm all in seeing you there and that room and everything. But having people there have a good time and share a moment, share a moment. But all that transcends to them studio sessions too, like the off hours. Who are you as a person with a human being? Like as a human being, like all that, and it's just, like I always want to give love because I love love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that goes into how I could get all those cats on the record because we just love each other, man. We just love each other.
And I think the lesson to the audience is music has always been about community. Always. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's fractured communities, sometimes the pathology is bad. But ultimately, I don't care if it's a rock community or a hip hop community, there's a community of people, and you have to decide where you are in that community and what you're going to contribute to it. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to be a negative contribution to it, it's going to have negative impact on you. And if it's going to be a positive contribution, it's going to come back. And when it's positive, it's like the dopest band ever. Everything is in tune. Everybody's in pocket. What's interesting about what you're describing in terms of your learning and what you had to know, it's very much like Nashville. Like musicians there, got to know how to read, got to know how to be flexible. You don't get the second chance and understanding and all that stuff. This is about being a pro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then everybody then around you has to be a pro. Management has to be a pro. Agencies have to be a pro. Lord, like if you ain't bringing it, then don't be it.
Yeah.
So it's great to watch
let me add to that, man, because I grew up in an era with musicians where, like, even me, I know what it feels like where my one alto saxophone has to feed my children.
Yeah, oof.
Like
it is.
I know what that feels like when pop culture, when you don't have a record or you're not moving like that, if you dormant for a week in pop culture, you're out. Called for 6 years. So I know what it's like to have to play an instrument to a certain level so people could appreciate, to give you money to pay for your home.
Right.
Like I know and that's a serious thing to, like, when you go do these sessions and they only record in the big band 2 takes.
Right.
And your one mistake is responsible for 26 other people. And everybody's feeding their family. Like that's an intense feeling, that you, it's like a dark side. Musicians don't talk about that do it like that. And it ends up being a job and a thing, like it ends up being like driving a forklift at certain times. You know what I'm saying? But that's a real thing that my friends in Nashville, they're up at 8 coffee. They're at the studios by 9:30. They're home watching shows by 6.
By 6. Absolutely.
Doing beautiful, and I'm talking about one takers.
Yes.
I mean, Mike Elizondo lives out there now.
Yes. Yeah, he does.
Talk about it. I mean, next.
Done.
Next,
Done. I mean, Dave and I are always blown away. We're fortunate that Nashville became part of Pensado's Place very early, and so we've had a chance to spend tons of time at Blackbird and spend time with Dave Cobb and spend time with so many bad cats. And
all the studio gear works.
Every piece.
In the whole city.
Absolutely. That's hilarious.
Hey man, Do you think we'll ever have a day when there are no genres? It seems like we're heading that way now that radio is going down the toilet. But what's your thoughts on that? Like, don't you wish you could just wake up and just play and not have it labeled as R&B or hip hop?
It's going to be like that, Dave, because us as humans are not going to have a genre. It's going to be, in about 30, 40 years, it's not going to be just 100% white dude, 100% black. That ain't even going on now. So life is merging. Life is becoming one. It's only becoming two sides of life, and it's always happening. It's the good and evil. People, the culture, everybody's different. Life is moving, and all this music is it's already reflecting life. That's why we have so many unfortunate young people dying that's saying these certain type words on these records, because the music is already reflecting life and back and forth. So it's already doing that. But what I'm seeing and what I'm believing in, what I feel this to be, and I'm looking at it, where the genres are going to change because human beings are changing. Like these, like, I work with a crew of young cats from 15 to 21, and they be like, if it's good, we like it.
Period.
And that is getting back to the 70s, like with people feeling like, no, like, my father was saying in the 60s when jukeboxes were moving in on the clubs in New York and the Midwest side, everywhere. A lot of musicians start getting fucked up because of that, the jukebox.
It's true.
So the musicians that my dad grew up with, they came from being diehard, straight ahead jazz musicians. But to make a living, they had to compete with the jukebox. So the jukebox would play John Coltrane, Giant Steps, the Beatles, Elvis Presley, this and that, this, blah, 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 blah. It would never be one genre. It would just be a whole thing that the band would have to play. That's also why I come from that too, because I'm always trying to mimic a DJ. I want to rock the party. So it's like, it's getting back to where people are just feeling like, kids don't call this shit R&B. They don't call hip hop hip hop. They don't call rap rap. They don't. It's starting to go like that. In a minute, they're not gonna be able to do that. Like, we got nominated for a Grammy dinner party, and they called it the title. I love these titles. Progressive R&B. I think it's best progressive R&B.
What is that? Right.
Why as humans do we need these fucking titles? I mean, my mom was a little Spanish lady, and she loved classical. She was named after an opera, and her favorite songs were like R&B instrumentals. And I'm looking at this little Latin lady just humming along at the top of her lungs. Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs, or Graves in the Grass, Hugh Masekela. And as I grew up in that environment, so I didn't really understand what genres were, but I understood what 12 notes were and how to use them. But it was so free. There's so much freedom, It's like you can't do that. This is a hip hop song. You can't do that. Get those strings out of here.
I think having genres is it's the home for the purist. It's a comfort space for purists that don't understand, so they have to say something. The hip hop guys don't do with the R&B, and you can't do that over that. And I remember people used to tell me coming up, "You're too musical. Don't play a horn over this, and you doing that kind of beat. It's too many chords." And I used to be like, "What is too many? What the fuck is what?" But I'm glad that we slowly, cats like Anderson .Paak is changing that shit up.
Yeah.
And you can only call him a bad motherfucker. That's it.
Period.
Yeah.
Bruno, all that shit. Absolutely.
I mean, it's a lot of cats that's changing stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The minute one of these R&B singers just do an album with strings of all ballads, whoever does that, I just gave a gang of my idea right now. Whoever does that is gonna shift the shit again, because what this new wave what's room I feel for this, and this is why I love Alex Isley, is young, fly, elegant. Is wide open. I feel for that musically. I feel it's wide open for young, fly, sophisticated music.
Absolutely.
It's room for this, you know. So I think artists, going back to you, that everything is changing. Where I think in a minute, man, I'm looking at all these streaming systems like this is gonna be funny in a year. Let's see what happens.
And I got to tell you, the fun part about the youth interaction, literally yesterday, instead of going to boxing class, I just went downstairs and did battle ropes, right?
That's a real thing.
Battle ropes are real. And the way I do it is I wrap it around a bike rack. I can use a bike rack for push-ups, dips, and other stuff. But I open up my car and I turn on music really loud. So I do it to music. And with battle ropes, I can pretend to be rhythmic and you are working your right. So, so I got, you know, different playlists, right? And I like, when it's time for me to listen to music, I need to listen.
Yeah.
My biggest compliment in the world is Maurice White and I were coming back one day. I was listening to some music with him. And when I got out of the car, he said, "Hey, man, hey, just want to tell you, you listen like a musician."
I love that.
Done. Mic drop for me, right? Yeah. So anyways, I'm playing Love in an Elevator by Aerosmith, loud. And out of the office comes a black lady who works at the office, and she says, "Can you turn this down?" That's not a COVID cough, by the way. So she comes out and says, "Can you turn it down?" And it was so loud. And I'm in the garage, and I turned it down, it was cool. But then I called back, and I said, you know, "Sorry to rock you out with Love in an Elevator." And now this is probably a 23-year-old black lady. She said, "I love that shit. Are you kidding? I had to turn it down because of the building, not because I didn't like it." It was no. She didn't have to get into a rock head space, and I didn't have to. You know, I'm probably 40 years older than her, and we all came together over. She saw no difference in it whatsoever. So I think you're 100% correct, and I think we're in a business that evolves. Yeah, and usually it's cyclical. So what was happening in FM back then when stuff was coming together, you know, you'd hear Steely Dan, and you'd hear something that had a rock. I remember when Jump by Van Halen was a #1 black record.
Damn.
#1 black record. I watched it and it was funky as hell. And we got it back then. Then we went off into silos. Now we're coming back. You know, it's cyclical. So anyway, sorry, that was a...
it's real talk.
For you, what are the mountains left for you to climb that you want to do?
Man, I don't, you know, in my head, to be real, I don't even feel like I climbed any mountain yet.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
You know, I don't want to appear to try to be a mystical dude, but I really made a real commitment to myself young to just keep stepping, to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife always said, "You never excited," but I'm excited. If I wake up, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm excited. This is like I don't know why I do what I do. I think I just do it, and I'm committed to it because I believe that the Creator gave me a way where I could make a living and feed my family and help others. So for me, the reason why I don't think I've climbed any mountain, because I don't look at it like I'm climbing anything. I'm just living.
Right.
I'm just living, and I'm trying to live. We all got demons, so I'm trying to live the best wholesome life I can. So because I know what's in your heart, that's what you project, that's what you get back. So I'm trying to always correct my heart, In other words, I'm always on my human being shit first now. When I was young, I was music, but music is something I do. I'm a father. It's a whole list of shit.
Right.
I'm a punching bag for my daughter. Like, it's a gang of shit, you know. So I never want to look at it as mountains to climb, because if I look at it as mountains to climb, eventually I'm gonna get tired of climbing. Right. You know, and I just want to keep going, man. I want to keep going. I'm careful about what I do these days, because I want to make sure I'm able to give everything the right amount of love and attention. Like, I'm diving. Me and Robert Glasper just started a company last year called Glasper Martin, and we're already we're 6 shows done, 2 movies done. So this is my first year really scoring. But you know me, I always want to go in. So it's like I don't want to hire an engineer, none of that.
Right.
I'm fine doing, you know, and me and Rob, and so I'm learning that because it's humbling and I love it, because in the production world, I'm kind of a thing to where I don't get no recalls.
Yeah. Ain't that nice? In
this world, it took years to get there.
Right.
And Dr. Dre will recall the fuck out of my shit every time, and I don't mind, you know. But in the film world, it's like, we want you, Terrace Martin, we want your sound. But really, you know, like Herbie taught me this: don't go into a movie premiere to listen to your music. Right. So I'm learning, you know, I gotta be more appointed, more on deck, more of this, more of that, because the recalls, they're going to come in. 20 different opinions on a queue.
That's right.
So I don't mind that though. And I love the challenge, and I love the recalls, because they only call me from a certain time to a certain time in the film world. I can deal with that. So I love that. So I never want to feel like I've reached that, I'm going there, because I'm just always scared of pooping out. Because I love it. I love challenges. I love difficult ass music. I love simple music, because the simple music is more difficult to me than the difficult music.
100%.
You know, nobody knows. Like, it's always brain boggling when I go in there with an artist. Like, I go back to YG. It's always because he's always calling me and twisting me out of a whole thing I've been in, doing something else that has nothing to do with that life.
Right.
So when I go with him, to the world, it may be like boom, boom. But to me, and when I go see Mustard, I'm like, I'm not looking at it when I work with Mustard and them like, dude. I'm looking at it. That shit sounds like an orchestra to me in my head.
Right.
So I'm like, how do I? Oh, okay. The biggest thing they love impulse, first impulse. Whatever make you go, ooh. Just like Miles did.
Yeah.
Just like Bird, just like Jimi Hendrix. It's the same. So, you know, I don't know how we got on that, but that, you know,
all I know is before we do batter's boxes, I got chills. I know that. That's for sure, man. Dave, you want to team up?
Yeah, I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
He's always ready.
Sax.
Jackie McLean.
Producer.
Quincy Jones.
Groove.
Let's Groove.
Vocals.
Alex Isley.
Lyrics.
James Fauntleroy.
Pretty good. You're getting too good. I'm making it up now. Key.
What did you say?
Key of the song.
Doesn't matter.
He's good, Herb. I'm embarrassed here. Samples.
James Brown.
Ooh. Major or minor?
Minor.
BPM. Favorite tempo.
95.6.
Favorite synth.
Arp Odyssey.
What one piece of gear, if your studio caught fire, would you try to rescue?
Nothing.
Don't say computer or hard drives, but
nothing. I would get out the house. It's on fire. and everything's insured.
That's the best answer to that question we've ever had.
I think he's the best or one of the best.
I'm telling you, man. I get out of the house. It's on fire.
It's on fire.
Yeah.
I got a lot of I got a crazy mic. I got some shit.
Yeah.
That, man. I get that shit.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
You know what? That speaks a lot about you, because possessions can destroy you, and possessions can really make your life miserable, because you worry about the possessions and not the meaning of life.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great attitude to have.
Well, I was in New York just recently, talking to Dave Sanborn because he's a horn collector. He's a intense for years. Like like if the weight of the horn is off, he's a. And we were talking about our horn collections, and then at one point we looked at each other and was like, "Why do we have all this shit?" It's and Dave Sanborn has. I went to his house. He has boxes of reeds since the '60s, brand new boxes, and he said, "Man, it's just." So as I've gotten older, I became more detached from things on purpose. I worked at that. I worked at that hard to not be, and I'm not attached to no saxophone. What about your horn? You have all your life. It's a saxophone. It's okay. And I think I started that attitude, Dave, doing sessions though. Like it came through my music because I work with so many people. I have a thing. I have to use an MPC. I have to use this. It has to use that. I have to use that. I have to use that. I said, well, my life needs to be a reflection of my music. I can't be married to anything other than my family, my soul. Everything else is secondary, third, fourth. I can't be, these are things like after I die, my music will be here living. I'll be dead as fuck and somebody else will fill the blank. It's a cycle of life. So I can't get attached to things. None of these things are even mine, really. Only thing that's mine is my baby, my family, even the money. If they do some weird shit, Joe Biden said, kill the banks. Boom, I'm fucked.
Right.
So me leaving the house, my house caught on fire, and it's 10 across serial numbers, 1073s right behind me. Fuck them.
Right.
Couple of C800s. Fuck them. 251s. Fuck that. Real mini move 1975 mid condition. Fender Rhodes, 2 of a kind with the wood grain from Rhodes himself. Go fuck that shit, man. The laptop, so what? Like, especially the laptop, because I'll call Keyscape and get all the shit back. Right. But my life, I could never. We all gotta go, but I don't want to rush it, so I can never get that back. I could get it up again. I remember, man, when I was not that right before I did Good Kid, Mad City. I was like, I had lost a house, had to live back at my mom's. I had to sell one of my Selmers. All I had one in, and I ended up buying another horn. I never thought I had to do this, but I ended up going on eBay. After moving all my shit in storage, because my ego got to me. After moving all my shit in storage, coming back down the hill, back to the hood, I had no horn. And I said, I need some money. I could go see Snoop, do some beats, but that that could be forever because it's rap life.
Right.
Rap life is the most urgent weight shit in the fucking world. This is why I'm in the movies now. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I said, I had to humble myself, and I said, okay, I got $500. No, I had $1,000 left, my $900. I got $900 to my name left. I need to go to the pawn shop and buy a used Mac laptop and get my friend, at this point, to give me all the programs so I could get back on my feet. I need to go buy a saxophone. I can't believe I had to go buy a pawn shop at Elliott's Pawn on Santa Monica, because that's, if you an LA real studio session guy, Elliott's Pawn on Santa Monica. You go to Elliott's Pawn, and I said, Elliott, I got $175, man. I just need a horn that could play. All my life I've been playing Selmers, King Super 20s, and I just need a horn that could play. He said, man, I got one. And it was like a old horn. And I had to get any kind of mouthpiece, just a mouthpiece out, wanted to find one out and put it on, practice for a month, some long tones, and went back to doing sessions. And I worked my way up with the messed up plugins. The computer kept going, but I worked my way up, and I learned through that process, fuck the gear. Because if I'm dependent at this time, hustling, doing beats, doing gigs, and that shit is going up and down, you rehearse for a tour back then. The artist either says they're about to do a movie or they have some emotional breakdown, it's over. Your family is left to suffer. Nobody gets money. Everybody, you suffering is bad. It's a dark thing on the other end of that stick. And I know it so well that I know how to avoid it now.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I had to learn all that. Like, I'm going back to running out the house for myself. I've lost so much shit. I've lost so much material things that I truly understand. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I don't care about what I'm working on. I don't care about my car. As long as it works, it gets me. I don't care what kind of car you got. I'll still do the deal with you without the Bentley if the paperwork is right. You know what I'm saying? All I care about is being happy while I'm on earth, bro. Living, playing the fuck out my horn. Keep fighting with that SSL every day.
Yeah.
I fight with that motherfucker every day. I'm fighting with it.
Yeah.
I'm fighting with that. Now my new thing is I'm challenging myself to mix all, because I'm Dr. Dre. I'm stalking Dr. Dre. To mix everything. I went to Dre's house and I looked around. He's playing some music loud and you hear all the elements though. And I'm looking around. It's no outboard gear. How's he making? And I creep over to the Pro Tools side, I see what the engineer, I see, let me look at the channels. Let me see what's going on the Pro Tools. A couple of reverbs and delays. So I'm like, how you doing this? He said, the board. Then he told me a story how he remembers seeing brochures about the SSL before they came out, and that was one of the big raps about it. Everything could be done.
Right.
So I've been challenging myself and just back on the desk, just reverb, delay, that's it. So like these things are kicking my ass. Like that's what brings me joy. It's like the challenge is to trying to learn the saxophone. I'm still trying to mix like Dave and all the big guys. I'm trying to be the best tracking engineer. I'm trying to be the best runner, the best. I'm just trying to just do that till it's over, man. Everything else, it's the sport. If somebody said the other day, man, some punk motherfucker, man, gonna come tell me, man, nobody cares about jazz, man. Why you playing that kind of music, man? You know, they don't sell nothing, they don't get nothing. Some. I have a couple of real shallow pop friends.
Yeah.
we all do. We all do.
Yeah, that's true.
And I like those guys, but you know, and right. I got an answer for them. I tell them I practice on my saxophone, and I'm always trying to learn new combinations on the mini moog or trying to make my Mellotron sound like Gino Vanelli. I love it. I love it. Like, I'm not the guy looking at the football game, the playoffs. I'm not the guy like getting together with my friends wearing jerseys on, having football night or basketball night. I'm not mad at that. I'm the guy that's just, I'm happy. I'm generally happy when shit breaks so I can break out the solder gun and just fuck it up some more, then got to look online all night. I love learning, and that's what keeps me more interested in making music than listening to it, is the gear and learning and breaking shit and well, I don't want to break nothing because I can't afford to get nothing fixed. I just fixed my 1176 by myself. You know,
impressive.
Stereo pair, blue stripe for all the guys out there. I think it's a fucking game. Okay. And I just fixed I just fixed it and I'm proud of myself.
Well, let me say this to you. The other thing you should be proud of yourself, whether you want it or not, is what you just explained for this whole hour is precisely why you are a leader and an iconic person in this thing. And even if you're not trying to those who are born to it, sometimes that's just the assignment.
But you know what though? I'm gonna live. First of all, God bless you, and I receive that because I am trying to. I am trying to be the one to help make a change, to help inspire all cats of all walks of life, to fall in love with challenges, because the breakthroughs is like the best orgasm in the world. Absolutely. Of anything in life. You know, so I do want to. I only want to be a leader of a leader and a tour guide of some type of roadmap that you can have a shot doing something. Like you ain't got to be doing nothing. You could be doing something, man. You know, something.
And I think the beauty of it, and then Dave, you can wrap us up. The beauty of it, Terrace, I will just tell you, somebody who lucky enough to be a friend, a major admirer, and have lived long enough to, and been credited with being a leader, but have lived long enough to recognize in others what you are and what your mom and your dad and folks instilled in you is just about excellence. Like your personal brand standard is excellence. And whether you're breaking something, whether you're fixing it, whether you're giving advice to somebody, whether you're playing something, whether you're looking at talent, your bar is excellent. So for you, it's nothing because that's just your normal bar. But to the rest of the world, it is excellence. And we are better off because you're around. And I'm a huge fan. Much love. Much.
Hey man, I'm a huge fan of y'all. Y'all know that. And I love y'all. Hey, Dave, remember I came by your studio? I bought those Osburgers.
Yeah.
I sold those Osburgers too. Hey man, we should do a gear talk one, just gear.
Oh,
I got a lot to say about these new fucking companies, but that's another day.
Well, but let's make that a part 2. We should do a gear thing. In fact, I'll hit you. Stay on after. We'll get some shout outs. There's a couple of interesting things we can talk about.
Dave said this one day. I said, man, why you got that piece of gear next to that piece of gear? He said, I like the expensive gear and next to it, a cheap piece of gear. You remember you said that to me?
Yeah.
That concept. And I was like, man, I'm going to try that. I tried it. I like it. It's just that's a good vibe.
I got so involved and mesmerized by Terrace. I haven't really prepared something, but let me just say this. We've done a lot of shows and over 500 and I got lost. I mean, I don't know where I was when you were talking, but you went straight from your mouth to my heart.
Oh man.
And that's, there's not too many people on this earth like that where they really, really, really are the real deal. And my mama always told me to respect the music and take the music somewhere and leave it better than you found it. And always bring honor to the family name. And so that's always, and then and when she passed away, she didn't undo it. So I'm still under that responsibility.
I love that.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Mom a call up there and tell her to check out Terrace Martin.
Come on, Mama.
Got it nailed.
Come on. And when you see Miles, tell him we said what's up.
Absolutely.
Man, I hope I don't see her too soon, but I hope I see her.
First of all, if we all see Miles and be like,
that's an issue. That's an issue.
It's over?
Yeah, right. We love you, man.
I love you too, man. Thank you.
We got more to come, baby. More to come.
Come on.
Audience, we'll see you next time.
Peace.